Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, my precious pack, and welcome back once more to VEGA Conflict. I have two target recommendations for this decimation revolving around the idea of building up the elite fleets of Zeus's. Before we get started with them, what is the ship we're going to be using? Well, right off the bat, since they're Altairian, we're going to be using the Behemoth. And again, the fitting has not changed. I haven't gone to the mixture of blight and explosive weapons yet, but when I do, I'm going to be equipping just a few things to increase the area of effect. And they're somewhere in here. This one? No, it's this one. So I'm just looking to increase the weapon's speed and area of effect even further than that of what Victoria already gives, which is what? Twice. Yeah, missile speed 1500 and radius of 30. So I'm going to be bumping up to 70% increased blast radius and right around 6,000 meters per second. I mean, right after it launches, it'll basically hit. And no, that's not accounting for the buffs or anything like that, but the targets are going to be the Banneret and the Subaltern 110. So you're going to be going after a co-op level 120 and a Subaltern 100. What the Banneret drops is the elite fragments and the individual Xeno element, which you're going to be using a lot to upgrade weapons. The Subaltarian will be dropping the Glance Cannon 4 fragments, which we want for the Xeno Glance Cannon fragments, which we'll be using for various other things. But, prize recommendations now, well, we're going to skip over most of the things because, well, I actually can recommend them because we're going to be receiving a update to XP soon, and bases are going to be they're still going to be around where they're at, because I don't think that the base XP is actually being tweaked or anything like that, so it's still going to be around what we have now. So, recommendations due to the primary fleets primarily doing plasma damage or blight damage, depending on the target type. Well, the player as well. We're going to recommend Explosive Dissipator, Blight Dissipator, and Plasma Dissipator. Wings. This is interesting as always, but I'm going to recommend picking up the Nightingale wings 1 and 2, and 1 and 2 for the Nighthawk as well. And yes, I just apparently misnamed them and pointed to the opposite one. Apologies. It is late, and I've just felt like making the video now, even though the rest of the video was recorded hours ago. Literally, when I said it in the Discord, it was recorded. But the rest of it is as follows. Javelin, for anyone who doesn't have it. The Wormhole Drives. Exophase Field 3, even though it's only going to be relevant against Altairian targets, which aren't used too much, the additional energy is worth it, and since it has no major negative effect, aside from boosting your XP exponentially out the window, you just get increased shell energy before the enemy actually breaks through and destroys everything beneath it. Next up, Zeus and the Zeus Mark boxes. After that, you can pick up the Nighthawk drones, which I still have yet to actually pick up all of them, but I mean, I'm still in the middle of farming. I'm just being a little bit lazy this time around because I have most of what I want. After that, we're going to pick up some Shockwave Resonant Armor, because you can never have enough for certain targets in the game. And gold prize boxes, and that's about it. Unless you need resources, then you know what to do. On to... that came out of nowhere. On to the prize, well, the target actually. Go ahead and just play the pre-record messages, and I'll bring you back in just a minute.
Target identified. Your directive, sir.
Okay, you're back. Well, that was actually faster than I thought. That's because the attacks were actually fairly short. But anyways, welcome back, and there is actually one other thing that I want to talk about, and that is the XP rework. And we actually have the banner in here that we can access through the Secure Rebel channel, if it'll load. And it is the Fleet XP balance changes, based on what we have now. And they're coming up in the June release. Currently, Fleet's XP is not accurately represented at lower levels. Yeah, we all know that. We've read through it, so what's the change going to be? Well, we have Tier 1, 1.5, and Tier 2 of the Rebels, and apparently the Revelation counts as Tier 2, even though the last time I checked it used Tier 3 crafting materials, specifically cores. So, unless they're going to change the crafting mechanic as well, that seems a bit misleading because VEGA started at Tier 4, VEGA Security began at Tier 5, well, Tier 4.5. So again, this is another thing that's a little bit messed up. This was actually Tier 4, according to the in-game things, and Tier 5 is right where it's supposed to be at. Xeno Division, right where they should be at. Axis, well, they're right where they should be at. And then we have all of the other targets all falling into the same group. So, first off, the only thing that I would like to mention is the fact that I'm going to be enjoying this change because certain fleets will be able to be used more frequently as they're pulled out for repairs, well, after this XP change, because you won't be able to be instantly destroyed by something that is so broken and overpowered and under where it should be, that it just gets to float around being a god of war. Now we're going to have similar level factions fighting it out. However, there is still a level discrepancy, but it is not as bad. Bases, well, they're still bases. They're going to wind up high level. You're going to get your teeth kicked in by just about any Altairian or Umbral fleet that is specifically built and bred to destroy a base. That will not change. And what else do we have? And yes, I just started a yawn there. In the new system, it should be separated and get by blah 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 blah. Most of us will have read through this. If you guys want to read through it, you can actually take the time to read through it by pausing the video or actually logging into the game and just reading it, because it's right there like I showed towards the top. NPC, oh yeah, the other one is the NPC targets will also be adjusted to reflect the new bands. Yeah. And from what I understand, the Dreadnoughts will also be dropped down in level to be more concurrent with their counterparts. And this is something that interested me, because I was always wondering why the Dreadnoughts were separated so heavily in power from their actual ship counterparts with these standard fleets. Because by all intents and purposes, they were actually the same. A Dreadnought had the firepower of a fleet within a single ship. It had the health of a fleet or more, but again, it had the entirety of the weight of a fleet, or close enough. And we also have information regarding the Altairian Dreadnought, the Orator, that I will actually be talking about later, because it's actually a fairly interesting ship with the spawning mechanic and whatnot that it has, and I actually can't wait for it to be released in the second week of July, because it's going to be an interesting ship that I'm going to very much so enjoy farming, and how I intend on farming it is actually going to be shared as a hint fairly quick-like. But for now, we have the XP reworks, and I can see them helping to balance out the game, but there's still so much more that needs to go into it than just that to help balance out the game. Go ahead and share your thoughts below, and I'm talking quieter and louder at times because, well, I'm tired. I can't maintain a certain vocal level. That, in fact, the air in my room is as dry as it ever is. And I get to sip on water to keep from dying of freaking thirst. In a bedroom that is currently in the middle of the night, and it should be nice and cold, but it is extremely warm. Alright. What do we got down here? Please be aware the change will require a forced recall of all ships on the sector map. Additionally, there will be a 24-hour 20% refit discount following the Alliance War. Alright, so we know that the monthly update will be after Alliance War, which, I mean, most of them typically are after the Alliance War. We haven't had any major updates in the middle of the month or anything like that, unless it was adding something specific to the game that the team wanted. Now, how exactly am I going to farm up the Altairian Dreadnought extremely quickly upon release? Well, I would say that I could spend coins, but that's not going to be an option because, as I stated in the Discord a while back, and I believe I've said in the video, if not, you're going to be hearing about it now, I intend on purchasing some of the featured ships, which are the reskin ships, as I pick up the coins from the black market, well, from the Alliance War, and I will use them strictly for either farming video tutorials, so they're not going to be mark upgraded, so they're going to be level 1, and they're also going to be used for player versus player engagements, along with my standard PvP ships. So PvP videos may come out at some point in the future as stuff is arranged. But for now, I've set up a poll, well, I sort of did, and people got to vote on what ship I should purchase after picking them up. However, I was given a heads up by Seals that there may or may not be a sale, or something I may want more towards the middle of the event, and I believe that was actually hinting towards the Altairian Dreadnought, because July in the second week is supposed to be its launch date. And if that is, I may actually save the coins, spend them to farm it in the first day, and actually get it fitted and stuff like that on day 1 of it being released, with the simple goal of showing it off, because it's going to be very interesting as far as I can tell from what we've been hinted at and what we've heard about it so far. But the coins that are left over, if I don't spend a stupidly large number farming the ship, I will be purchasing a ship. So for any of you who want to vote on that now and that have watched this video up to this point, take a look in the featured store, because it has to be in here, because I cannot purchase them from the black market, because I'm not going to buy coins for the game, but I will spend the coins on the ship, so I'm not going to go through here to buy anything from here. It will be used to purchase stuff from the featured store. And the price also has to be taken into account. The amount that I'm willing to spend is only going to be 2,000 coins. So any carriers are automatically disqualified because they cost 3,000 coins, and I do not have that. And after the Alliance War, I will only have 2,000 or 2,400 coins. If I have 2,400, then it'll be a higher probability chance of me being able to pick up a ship and work towards the Dreadnought when it is released. But that's going to be it, everybody. We're going to talk more on the Dreadnought for the Altairians later. It feels good to be back in VEGA and not in World of Tanks. Even though I keep playing World of Tanks, and I mean, they announced a tank, the Tier 9 reward tank for the Frontlines game mode. That was... I'm definitely picking it up because I just want it as a novelty tank, but it's my first thought when I saw it is, as I'm going to share in a later video, because I will be making a video about it, just having a bit of fun with it. But that's months away, so you don't have to worry about any World of Tanks content taking over the channel. And other short-term projects, well, I'm not going to show anything in this video just yet, but I'm fairly close with completing the updates for certain Space Engineer ships that I've been working on. And for any of you who don't know and don't follow Discord or haven't been informed, I'm actually doing a set of VEGA ships that were voted by the Discord. The Hellfire Battleship, the Daemon Battleship, which I'm almost completed with a interior as well, so what I envisioned it to look like from the commander's point, the interior of the ship, things like that, as well as the Sovereign Carrier. Those are the 3 most voted ships, and this is going to be the first set of ships I release, but again, I'm only working on the Daemon right now, and it's mostly complete, and then I'm going to throw a color scheme on it that I like, and then I'll share it. Next up will be another vote, but I'll make a public vote here on the channel so that as many of you that want to see more specialized ships can vote on it. And again, it's any ship in the game that I have that I can actually produce via the blueprints, I will make and remake in Space Engineers with a functioning interior because I think it'd be a fun little project to take on along the side of what I'm already doing for VEGA. And again, it would be more content for the channel, but it would be something different, which is kind of what I want to do. Other than that, there isn't much else to talk about. I don't have any other news at this time. So I guess you guys can discuss what you've heard in this video so far. It's a bit of a recommendations video for the targets for the Decimation, and a bit more. You get to hear about other projects that I'm working on, going to be bringing to the channel fairly soon. And I'm steadily getting quieter and quieter. I've just realized that. But regardless, be safe out there in the void, everybody, and as always, I will see you in the next video.